Netroots. I can't see anybody, but I know you're there. Welcome to Philadelphia, and welcome to Quakerdom. This is where the Quakers have started in the US. And so, and as you know, I represent a Quaker organization. I love the energy, and I love being here. Thanks for inviting me. It's truly an honor to be in a room where people don't need convincing that the stakes are real. We all know that the scale of moral fracture, rising repression, and the speed in which it's unfolding is unprecedented in our lifetime. And such moments test our strategies. They test our assumptions about what is possible. And many of us in this room have dedicated our lives toward building a more just and equitable world. But our challenge today is not to just work harder, but to show up differently. So I lead the American Friends Service Committee, AFSC. We are a 109-year-old Quaker peace and social justice organization. We work in the US and we work globally as well. And we are headquartered just literally across the street, 2-minute walk. And for over a century, we have learned a few things about keeping eyes forward. And I'd like to summarize those lessons to you with 3 simple principles. I'm calling them that we speak, we refuse, and we persist. We speak, we refuse, and we persist. So what does it mean that we speak? It means that we speak truth, because words matter. When our communities are under attack, we stand with them. When genocide is happening, we say so. When there's racism, we say so. Not selectively, not when it's convenient, but because our principles are not conditional. And yes, speaking truth does come with a cost. Lost funding, distortion, being maligned and mislabeled. But we do it anyway, because our values demand it, and because people's lives depend on it. So AFSC has worked in Palestine for over 75 years. We went there after the Nakba in 1948, and we set up humanitarian relief aid for Gaza, and we've been there ever since. We've done humanitarian work, accompaniment, and we have a strong US-based advocacy program, all rooted in dignity, in justice, and nonviolent resistance. And for the last 2.5 years, our staff in Gaza have continued to work amid a continued genocide perpetrated by Israel and funded by the United States, by our tax dollars. Our staff continue to provide food, water, they do trauma healing services, they provide education activities to children living through the unthinkable. Their family members have been killed. Their homes, schools, and hospitals have been destroyed. Their lives, their dreams, they have been decimated. I look at when I get them online, I see how much weight they've lost. But they refuse dehumanization. So while my colleagues in Gaza go out every day to help their communities survive this unimaginable situation, our responsibility here in the US, especially because our government is complicit, is to do them justice by refusing to be silenced and name what is happening. It is genocide. So courage is what you do when you know the truth. It's naming the oppressor clearly, without exceptions. The second principle, we need to be willing to act. but also willing to refuse. AFSC was born from an act of refusal. We were founded by Quakers who refused to fight in World War I. But they did not just refuse to fight. Some of them went to Europe and they drove ambulances and rebuilt homes. Others went to jail because they don't want to compromise their principles. So Quakers believe in pacifism, but certainly not passivity. So today, we refuse to cooperate with harmful policies. We take risks. We boycott. We divest. We offer sanctuary. We physically stand with those at risk. And we litigate in courts. I have been particularly inspired this year by the courageous actions of our staff and thousands of others who refused to accept Trump's administration's campaign of mass detention and deportation. AFSC staff are helping communities build protection networks. No more policy change work, at least there's no policy to change these days. So we've pivoted to protection, to a build, protect, and persist model. Protection networks, we run Know Your Rights trainings, engage in nonviolent civil disobedience. AFSC has a policy for civil disobedience. So we encourage our staff and our board to pursue civil disobedience, of course, in a responsible way. We want their safety. But we also are trying new things, as I said, because the moment is asking us to do new things. As of late, we started doing direct support for immigrants with respect to sort of supporting bond funds or cash assistance to immigrants, things that we haven't done before. And so we are trying new things because the moment is asking us to. And we are seeing results. In New Hampshire, we helped stop an ICE detention center from opening. And in New York, we pressured the hospital system to drop their contract with Palantir. And in New Jersey, these days, we have been protesting, advocating, and doing everything in our power to support the courageous labor and hunger strikers detained at Delaney Hall. Because we know that human beings belong in communities and not in cages. My third principle is about persistence. Persistence matters, and so does power. AFSC has learned that real change takes time. I think we all know that. It's built through relationships strong enough to withstand repression, fatigue, backlash. So we don't parachute in and out of communities. We stay until justice is done. From New Mexico to New Hampshire to North Korea, believe it or not, to Palestine, Zimbabwe, Guatemala. We do this work for the long term, quietly, building power, building trust. That is the foundation of true solidarity. And we also learned that we need to go beyond the sometimes cliche, we need to center the voices of the oppressed people. Yeah, we sure do, but that's not enough. We need to shift who leads and whose knowledge counts. This means moving power and resources. So those living the consequences are shaping strategy, they are making decisions, and are leading the work. As a Palestinian American and a Quaker myself, these commitments are not only professional, they are deeply personal. They come from a reality of living under military occupation, a belligerent apartheid system, felt in my bones every day. I grew up in Palestine. and from a spiritual conviction, my Quaker faith, that compels me to act. But I see these principles lived out by people all over the world who don't have that luxury of waiting. In a time shaped by fear and division, our task is to show up differently, more creatively, take more risks with courage, with integrity, and a commitment to one another. We need each other. We don't each have to do everything, but each of us has to do something, because history will not only remember what was done to people, it will remember who spoke, it will remember who refused, and it will remember who stayed. Thank you.